Okay, we're still talking about selections, and we're just going to use our rectangle marquee tool to um, illustrate a few things. In the last video, we just drew a square and filled it with a color. So we're going to make a more complex selection this time, and we're going to still just use the marquee tool, the rectangular marquee tool, um, and we're going to make a few selections just to illustrate the marquee tool, the selection tool. So if we draw a square, you can see we get the same selection that we just got. Um, if we click and drag inside the square, we can move our selection around. But also, if we click outside, you see we get the crosshairs again. If I click and drag outside, I redraw that square. Now, um, there's a couple tools that actually really help in your selections. So I'm going to click outside and redraw this square one more time, and then let's say I wanted to add just another stair step right here. So I have to hit the shift key, and as soon as I hit the shift key, you can see my cursor changes to a crosshair with a plus sign next to it. It looks kind of like two crosshairs. That means I'm going to add to the selection. So if I click and drag, it doesn't redraw it, it just adds to the selection. So if I click this square, you can see it adds that little hump because now this whole thing's selected. So I could actually click and drag this whole corner in there if I wanted to. And now you can see I have this whole kind of Tetris looking shape in there. Now just like adding areas for selection, when you hold the shift key down, you get the little plus mark. When you hold the alt key down, you get a minus mark. So while holding the alt key, if I click and drag, it looks like I'm making a selection, but actually what I'm doing is I'm deselecting whatever I'm highlighting. So if I let go, you can see I deselected all this stuff over here, and now I just have this right column. So this is really helpful when you're really trying to just get a specific area. You can really tweak, you know, and go down and remove areas or add areas. Okay, so I'm going to redraw just a square. And the other thing I wanted to show is you don't have to have a selection that is continuous. You could have this be a square up here, and you can have another square up here. Okay, so if I draw this square and then I shift click and draw this square up here, this I have now selected the stuff inside of here and the stuff inside of here. So I could paint that area when I click once here. Since I have both things selected, it's going to paint whatever I have selected. So now I have those two boxes painted. So the selections don't have to be continuous in order to be effective. So adding areas and removing areas becomes very important, especially when you're cutting things out. So we'll go into that next, but I just want to illustrate it in a very simple manner.